people have about the Old Testament make them feel that the Old Testament is no longer relevant to the New Testament person. Now, the truth, the question here is, are they correct? And one wouldn't waste time to insist that they are actually wrong. The reason is, it is not correct for anybody to discard the old just because it is old. It's just like one destroying anything that is older than him or her, or even bringing it down to the family, thinking that your parents are now useless because they have grown old. We are going to list a few reasons why the Old Testament is still very relevant and will ever remain important for study and for faith. Number one, the Old Testament is the parent of the New Testament. The Old Testament is the parent of the New Testament. The Old Testament is the bedrock from where the rivers of New Testament flow. Without the Old, there won't be the New. So in other words, it is the Old to the New. And for any the New Testament, such a person must go back to know what the Old Testament really is all about. You know, I read a story about a Chinese man who got a New Testament Bible from a missionary. He went to home, read the whole Bible, and met the missionary again and told him, there's a part of this book that is missing. This is new. Let me have the old, because even the opening chapter of the New Testament talked about the God of David, the God of Abraham. It means that there's a part of this book that is missing. So you cannot actually separate the two. By the way, all the people who quarrel or ignore or denigrate the Old Testament still use it in many ways. And in the first place, there are only about 3 books in the New Testament that did not refer to the Old Testament. In other words, all the other books, among the 27 books you have in the New Testament, 24 quoted the Old Testament profusely. And when Paul was writing in 2 Timothy 3:16, Paul insisted that all scriptures are good enough for instruction, for rebuke, etc. And when Paul was writing, there was no New Testament. So the scriptures there in question was actually the Old Testament he was referring to. All of them in that context studied and read from the Old Testament. So there is no basis for anybody to think that the Old Testament is not necessary anymore, like many people do. So denigrating the Old Testament is like trying to remove a very major part of what you believe. Some of the people who try to denigrate the Old Testament go to the pulpit, tell you that the Old Testament is not necessary, and they go ahead to collect tithe for instance, in their church. If you recall, tithing is an Old Testament concept. They will collect tithe. They will also quote all those beautiful, inspiring Bible passages in the Old Testament, like no weapon formed against you shall prosper. They will shout it, demonstrate it, and all the people around will shout amen. They will come back and tell you that the Old Testament is not necessary. So the number one thing we have underscored here is that the Old Testament is the parent of the New. Number two, the Old Testament gives us the inspired version or history about where we came from. Man naturally is maybe curious. We want to know where we came from, want to know who we are. How did we come here? These are the questions that bother man, and that's what moves a lot of people to study. And up to tomorrow, people are still searching for the answers of these questions. But when you go back to the Old Testament, you get a very inspiring story of the origin of humanity. Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 2. Over time, we are going to see some of the troubles around the chapters. But the first thing we want to establish here is that however you look at it, this part of the Bible gives us a clue, a very good history about the origin of humanity and, of course, the universe. Number three, the Old Testament also gives us the history, a good history about creation. In the course of our study, we are going to meet some other views about the origin of man, about the origin of creation, how creation actually happened, according to the views of some other scholars. But whatever any of them have said or done in the past, either present or future, will also be subjective. And many people will prefer to go back to the Old Testament for an inspired history of creation. It is only in the Old Testament you have a more detailed story about how creation actually happened, unlike what you have in so many cultures and contexts. People from different parts of Nigeria, for instance, have their understanding and history about how the world or creation came to be. But here in the Old Testament, we have a better understanding. These are the major reasons why we study the Old Testament. There is nothing in the Old Testament that is old per se. It is only called Old Testament because there is a version of the scripture we carry that happened more recently. It is called Old Testament not because the information or the content is old, no, but because it happened earlier than the part we call the New Testament. This is what we are going to do for today. I really would have loved us to continue, but because of what I earlier explained, we will stop at this point. Then by next Saturday, God's grace, we will take up our the course and see how far we'll go. The coordinator had told me we are going to do it all through the month. And if it will end by the end of this month, September, by God's grace, we will divide the classes in such a way that we will finish before the end of the period, please. I don't know if anybody has a comment or question.
Much our able rector for that very inspirational lecture. I am glad. I'm sure that I'm speaking on behalf of others that has been a very good introduction to the subject of Old Testament survey, eye-catching experience that you have highlighted. Without over-speaking the mind of others, I will give the scholars opportunity to interact with you. Please, if you have any question, feel free to interact with our lecturer. The area he has handled is actually his area of expertise. So I'm sure whatever you throw at him, you will not be disappointed. Feel free to ask a question before he departs for the day. Any comment or any question or any area you want clarification, feel free to do that.
The brief introduction has proven to be very, very educative. And just like you said, while talking, it has helped to dispel this belief that, okay, we are of a new generation. We don't have anything to do with the old generation, which is the old scriptures. But I'm glad he has given a better insight into why it is very, very, very much relevant in the preaching of the gospel and its application. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. All right, any other person?
Andy Shelley, you are not saying anything. Any question?
No
Hello,
question,
good morning,
sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Reverend, good morning.
Oh,
Good
good
morning.
morning.
I happened to join very, very late for reasons I couldn't control. I went out, so I thought I would join online, but my phone was giving me issues. I just got to the concluding part of the whole thing, but I know we're talking about the Old Testament, how we cannot be isolated from the New Testament, how to treat two of them. But I don't know whether, because it is an introductory note, whether we are free to ask. Like me, I had wanted to know how can we reconcile the issues of the sacrifices in the Old Testament that some of our Christian brothers are still doing now. Can we emphatically tell them that no, this is not tenable again now? In view of the fact that you said that we cannot discard the Old Testament, are we going to discard part of it that has been modernized, so to say? Or are we going to follow everything? Because I know the white garments people at profess Christians too. They still do the thing that they saw you see in Leviticus and all that, offerings for cleansing and all that. So I don't know whether it is a question, whether I'm being too fast, whether it's a question for when the class started, or whether we can at least clear some issues there. Thank you, sir.
We will see somewhere. There is no argument.
So your network is not good again. I can't hear you at all. Cannot hear you at all. can't hear you at all. It's just
Hear
very,
me now.
The network is bad.
it's very bad. Okay, maybe try offing your video and try it now.
Yes, my video is off now. Is it?
Please, could you go back to the place you were at the beginning where you were talking? That was very clear.
Now. Hello, can you hear me?
We didn't hear a word of what you said, sir.
Not very well.
Hear me? Oh, okay. Is it a little bit just network problem? Hello.
Aha, better.
Better.
Okay. Oh yeah, say something again, sir, please.
Okay, it's better now.
Okay, okay.
Is it better now?
Yes, it
Better.
is, it is, it's.
All right. A little comment around the question our friend asked. Some of the activities in the Old Testament, especially when it has to do with priestly laws, what we call priestly laws, we will meet them somewhere in the course of our study. Some of those laws have been overtaken by the event of the presence of Jesus. The reason is because there were signs of what was to come, like a prototype of the real thing that will happen later. When God gave the Jews the laws around sacrifices, he gave it to them because the person of Jesus had not been revealed. By the time Christ was crucified and all the events of crucifixion, it took care of anything about sacrifice, because it is the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross that is complete. Every other one that was happening before that time among the Jewish people were just to appease God for what was happening in their midst, or to sustain their relationship. But the time came when he has to pay the price of either our sin or whatever reason for which the Jews sacrificed their livestock or whatever they needed to sacrifice. A time came when God has to give to humanity the best sacrifice, and then it will only require a connection by faith. When anybody believes in Jesus, there won't be any reason again to offer any physical sacrifice, like go to the altar, set a fire on anything. There won't be any reason anymore at the instance of Jesus. So finally around it, whatever the cherubim and seraphim and other denominations that still offer sacrifices the way we have described it do is in error. They are yet to know that the fulfillment of that prototype that was happening in the Old Testament had already come in the person of Jesus. So it's no longer necessary to sacrifice anything. In the course of these lectures, we are going to identify some of the laws that the Old Testament has already taken care of.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Welcome. Any other person?
Are we still on?
Yes, we're still on.
Okay. Do we still have any more comments?
Let us see as we go on with the class, and then we can now see if we have questions. But for now, since it's just an introduction, it's okay to me.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Our director, I now hand over to you as I leave the class. Let's have a word of prayer. Thank
Okay.
you, Father, for this brief moment. We ask you to go ahead to help us in the subsequent activities of the day. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.